What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I did want to make a video today going over the Crew 1 because some interesting information dropped about it, at least before on December 14th, so I was like, you know what? I have to jump back onto this game and talk about this for a minute. Also, guys, every time I jump back onto this game for something, I always seem to find some weird broken stuff basically everywhere. Like, look at these poles. Why are they in the middle of the road? I do think that engineer is probably going to be fired. Nonetheless, though, guys, it does turn out everything about the Crew 1 is going to come to an end. Fun fact, by the way, I actually cannot believe this game's going to be 9 years old. I really do feel like I was basically playing this like yesterday, but now we're going to be in the amazing Motorfest, which, by the way, it really is insane how far these games have come. Like, if you jump onto this game, guys, and look at like the lighting, the graphics, the car sounds, and all that, then jump on Motorfest. Also, those are three of the exact same trucks in the same place. You are then going to notice how like different the games are, but I also want to mention, by the way, am I the only one that finds it kind of weird how basically all of the actual vehicles in the game, like the AI, their headlights actually work, meanwhile mine do not. This game is so dang dark, guys, I can barely see the road. By the way, my TV is almost maxed out on its like bright settings right now, and I can barely see anything. My brightness cannot go any higher. Regardless, though, guys, on December 14th, this game is going to be delisted from all of these stores. So basically, every edition and all the packs are going to be gone. The crazier part, though, guys, is on March 31st in 2024, all of the servers on the Crew 1 are going to be closed down. So if you guys have not played this game yet, this is probably going to be the time to do so. That way you can actually experience stuff on this game and see where this entire franchise started. Which, by the way, I have to admit, guys, playing the Crew 1, then going to the second game, and then, of course, now playing Motorfest really is going to be the most incredible experience ever. Like, every game legit got so much better in basically every way. Not only, like, the graphics, the gameplay, the stuff they added, and also, like, the cars and the sounds. But my goodness, they basically killed this in every way. I really did love this game back then. It really was insane, guys, how many memories were made on this game, and we also knew probably in the future they were going to, like, update this. Or, of course, have, like, a different game come out afterwards, like, for example, the Crew 2 coming out. Or also that having Motorfest coming out around 9 years later. Which, by the way, it really is crazy to me, guys, how different these games actually are. Now, I do know this game was, of course, like, the first part of, like, the different design version of the United States. And then now in Motorfest, we do have Hawaii, which has had some, like, mixed opinions. But I have to admit, guys, I do feel like adding a new map like that was probably the best way to do it. I feel like playing on the Crew 2 map again for another multiple years probably wasn't going to be the best thing they could have done, so I do feel like upgrading things like that is going to make a big difference in the future, and who knows what like DLCs and stuff we might actually see in Motorfest, but playing the Crew 1, guys, really is going to be insane to me because this is really where it all started. I basically was only playing like Need for Speed before this, so playing something like the Crew, guys, and going to GameStop that day and actually seeing this game come out was probably one of the best memories ever. Also, I do feel like I'm not the only one, though. Do you guys ever get on, like, an old game like the Crew 1 or even something like San Andreas before? And do you ever go, wow, this game actually looked like this? I do feel like to a certain extent you most likely were probably like, I do think this game probably looked better. Then again, you most likely thought the game did look a lot better for its time then. I could not imagine seeing a game like San Andreas or even the Crew 1 with, like, updated graphics like Motorfest, like, that would look absolutely insane. What I would like to know, by the way, guys, what were some of your funnest memories back on the Crew 1 before? I would say with this game closing down, a lot of players might end up jumping back on at least one more time. Of course, before this game is completely gone for that matter, but I do want to mention, by the way, guys, if you are wondering why I am driving in the city so much, it's mainly due to the fact that at nighttime you really can't see anything in this game. Especially driving on like mountain roads and stuff like that, you basically can't see a thing. So I was like, you know what, let's go in the city, that way you can actually see the game a bit. And now, of course, it is going to be almost like morning, and I guess you could say daytime is coming, but that was actually one of my biggest issues with this game before, was I really could not see anything at nighttime at all. Like, it really was going to be a big problem. Funnily enough, it was also going to be an issue in the Crew 2 back then, which I do find that kind of funny how like some of the issues like carry over. And of course it is probably going to be really hard to make like the lighting in that game good with how big this map actually is here on the Crew 1 slash the Crew 2. So I guess in some way I do kind of understand that. And then of course, fast forwarding to Motorfest, we are going to be in like a completely different engine. The game is also going to be absolutely gorgeous. It really is insane though, guys, because I do have to say this though, I did like the lighting in this game during the daytime. I feel like it also had like a different kind of feeling to it when driving. Like, I feel like I'm also not going to be alone. Why are you walking? Um, alright. But besides all that though, I did want to admit I really do feel like the graphics in this game were honestly pretty dang great. Now I do know a lot of players were also mentioning how good the coloring on this game is. For example, guys, I would like to know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you guys think the Crew 1's coloring of the map is better than the Crew 2? I do know that game is going to be like a lot more colorful and I guess you could say vibrant, while this game is probably going to be like more of like a dark kind of shadow color. And you can kind of say it's also going to be like slightly dull in some places, but the other thing I keep doing on here is I keep hitting the wrong buttons to like shift and also like change the camera. For example, guys, back on this game, it was going... Nice driving, dude. And I'm sorry, bro. I guess I'm a Mustang now. Probably a bad joke. And look, I'm gonna jog in the middle of the road. Oh, no one's going to notice it. Man, the camera angles on here, man. This is, But as I was saying, though, guys, I really am mixing around my settings on the controller a bit. For one, I keep forgetting I have to shift with the analog stick. And also, looking back is going to be a 1. Kind of odd. I probably could go in and, like, mess around with the settings, but I am most likely not going to be spending that much time in this game. Now, the other place I have to spawn to in this video is by far going to be the biggest glitch in this game ever. That is, of course, going to be right over here where the water basically breaks away, and you can kind of tell it's not connected to the ground there. Let's spawn here. And then, of course, entering into the glitch here, guys, I have to admit, this is by far one of the funniest things ever. I mean, I do know this was most likely on purpose to add into the game, or also they probably couldn't fix it. But who knows, it basically added a really big area you could drive around in the game, though. And you really could basically mess around in every way in here with your friends, so at least it was going to be a pretty awesome feature, or even like a bug slash glitch. Which I really do feel like, by the way, guys, is probably going to be one of the only glitches many players would most likely be happy with. And that way you can actually mess around with your friends, but it doesn't really mess the game up. And of course, it's basically going to add on to like a whole different aspect of it, but the fact that this game really is ending here in March 31st, 2024 is still going to give around 4 months or so to really mess around with this game if you had not had a chance. I would also recommend doing that, by the way, guys, if you haven't played it. Like, this game, you can definitely play this and be like, man, I wish they did that, or like, I really wish they would have added this to it, but looking back in this day, though, you really can't tell how, like, the Crew franchise started. Now, I did figure, let's actually get back on the road and ride one of the motorcycles. That way you can actually see, like, the legit coloring of the map here. So, during the day, guys, there is going to be a lot of traffic and a lot of vans. There is also going to be a lot of nice coloring here, like with the fall on the trees there, which I also believe I'm going to be near New York somewhere, I think, I would say. Kind of getting that vibe a bit, at least in the area. Overall, though, guys, I would say the Crew 1 is by far going to be a very iconic game, especially for any racing game in time, even in like the last 10 years of coming out. Not only that, though, it's also going to be a really fun game to actually jump on, of course, before this game really does go offline completely in 2024.